love to travel and I am all about convenience where possible. Now, I know not everyone is like that. Some people want to travel the cheapest way possible, and that obviously depends on budget and so forth as well, and your ability to do those things. But when it comes to enhancing my travel experience, I will look at, okay, what's the cheapest way of getting there? How long is that going to take? And what is the most convenient way of getting there? And how much is that going to cost? So, for example, when we were on our recent trip, most of the time, yes, we would catch the tube, we would jump on buses and that sort of thing. But there was circumstances sometimes we went, you know what, that's just going to take way too long and be really stressful. So when we went to Ez, for example, we could have caught, I think, a couple of different buses. It was going to take, I don't know, something like an hour or so to get there and whatever. And we went, you know what, it's just a pain. We just caught an Uber. It was, we were there early, we beat the crowds. It cost, I think, €23 to get an Uber there. And it was well worth paying that just to get delivered right to the place we needed to be, rather than waiting in lines, waiting for buses, having you be on crowded buses going up a hill like that. We did the same thing last year. We went to Ravello in Italy. It could have taken, I think it was like a ferry and 2 buses to get there. It was going to take an hour and a half. There were crowds of people and I went, forget this. There's no way I'm doing it. It's going to take way too long. We ended up finding a transfer company that could take us up there. I think it ended up costing $65 each way. They picked us up. They dropped us late in the afternoon. We had dinner. We wandered around. They came back and got us at 9 o'clock at night. It was so much easier and so much less stressful, because I looked at the crowds of people waiting for those buses going, oh my God, that is just not worth it to me. So again, it depends on where you're going and what you're doing, but I have found in some situations I would much rather get an Uber, or if it's further out, even book a driver to take you there, because it's just too hard on public transport. It's going to take way too long. And look, some of those gorgeous villages and stuff are absolutely beautiful. I'm so glad that I didn't miss them. But I'm so glad as well I didn't do public transport, because it just would have ruined the whole experience. I would have got there cranky and hot and ready to go home straight away. So always look at cost versus convenience. I'm a convenient girl. Same thing as when we arrived in London. We arrived in London around midnight. So the last thing I wanted to do was navigate tubes and trains and stuff like that, which would have been the much cheaper option to get us to our hotel. But we just hopped off a long flight. It's dark, I'm tired, I just want to get to my hotel, have a shower and go to sleep and start fresh the next day. We had a driver booked to pick us up. I think it cost about $120 or something like that. For me, it was so worth it, because it took nearly an hour to get there. That would have cost a fortune in a cab, and also would have been such a pain in the ass and a lot longer journey on the train. So again, so much more convenient. Yes, it costs more, but oh my God, happier Tanya is a better Tanya to be traveling with, believe me. My husband can vouch for that. But there are times where it is just much better to pay for that convenience. Otherwise, you're going to waste so much time trying to get from point A to point B and miss out on a truly magical experience when you get there. So have a think about that when you're traveling. Yes, it might be cheaper to catch the tube, but is it more convenient? And a lot of the time, yes, it will be, but not always. It really depends on where you're going, what time of the day and so forth, because you've got to change trains 3 times and then walk a kilometer and do this. Like, it's sometimes still just too hard, right? And it just ruins your whole travel experience. And I want to have a great experience. So think about cost versus convenience when it comes to planning how you're going to get from point A to point B.